What if the most important thing your dog needs from you every single day costs nothing? Takes no special training. Requires no equipment. No extra time. No expertise. What if it is something so quietly simple that when you hear it, your brain will push back and say, surely it cannot be that? Here is the uncomfortable reality. Most dogs spend their entire lives trying to communicate something specific to the one person they love most. A clear, consistent message sent through body language, posture, behavior, and 1,000 small daily signals. And most owners, good owners, caring owners, people who genuinely adore their dogs, go their whole lives without ever fully receiving it. Not because they do not care. Because nobody ever taught them what the message actually looks like. By the end of this video, that changes. Stay with me, because what is coming at number 4 is the thing most dog owners have been getting wrong their entire lives without realizing it. And once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. Picture this moment. Your dog has done something wrong, chewed a shoe, knocked something over, grabbed something off the counter. You turn around, catch them in the act, and without even thinking, you fix them with a long, hard, unblinking stare. You say their name slowly. In that tone. You believe you are communicating disappointment. Your dog is experiencing something completely different. In canine social language, a sustained direct stare is not a correction. It is a threat signal. It is the precise body language a dominant animal uses to initiate a confrontation. Your dog's nervous system does not translate that moment as my owner is unhappy with me. It translates it as something dangerous may be about to happen. The response you see, dog going completely still, head lowered, eyes looking upward, body frozen, that expression owners often call guilt is not guilt at all. Scientists who have studied this extensively confirm it is appeasement behavior. It is your dog communicating in the clearest way their body allows, I am not a threat. Please do not escalate this. I am trying to make this moment stop. And when this happens repeatedly, research shows something troubling. Dogs who experience frequent confrontational interactions with their owners, even unintentional ones, develop higher baseline anxiety and become less likely to approach their owner voluntarily in calm moments. Not because they fear you exactly. Because some part of them is always quietly calculating whether your next look is safe. The adjustment is simple. Use your voice to redirect. Move calmly rather than loom. Reserve eye contact for warmth, not correction. Because the dog you want, the one who is loose around you, who seeks you out, who trusts you without reservation, cannot fully exist if part of them is always waiting to read your eyes for danger. Your dog walks over while you are sitting quietly. They approach slowly. They sniff your hand, press their nose briefly to your arm, maybe rest their chin near your wrist for a moment. And your immediate instinct is to reach out and start stroking them. It feels like connection. It feels like exactly the right response. But from your dog's perspective, you just interrupted a conversation they were in the middle of having. When a dog approaches you for one of these quiet check-ins, they are doing something precise and purposeful. They are reading your body chemistry, the information carried in your scent that tells them things your face never could. Whether you are stressed, unwell, off balance, or genuinely fine. This assessment matters to them deeply. It is how they monitor the person their entire well-being is anchored to. The moment you convert that check-in into a petting session, the dynamic shifts. It becomes about your need to touch rather than their need to understand. The sentence they were midway through saying gets interrupted. Try something different. Next time your dog initiates one of these quiet approaches, keep your hands still. Let them complete what they came to do. Only once they have finished, once they settle, look up, or simply step back satisfied, respond. The shift in what you feel from your dog in those moments is noticeable. Because for the first time, you let them finish. And a dog who is allowed to complete their sentences eventually starts saying more of them. Here is something we do to dogs constantly that we would never do to another person we love. We change their world without any warning. A new baby. A house move. A family member leaving. A new pet arriving. A change in your work schedule. A stretch of time when someone else will be caring for them. To you, these events arrive with context, time to mentally prepare, to adjust, to understand. To your dog, they simply happen. One day the world is one way. The next day it is something different. And they have no framework to explain the gap, no language to ask questions, and no way of knowing whether what changed is permanent or temporary. Research from Stockholm University found that dogs experience significantly elevated cortisol during periods of household disruption, and that the stress response is measurably more severe when disruption arrives suddenly rather than gradually. You cannot explain a house move to your dog in words. But you can take them to the new space before the move happens and let them explore it slowly. You can keep the parts of your daily routine most connected to their sense of safety stable while other things shift. You can introduce changes in smaller steps rather than all at once. What most owners do is nothing, because they assume the dog will simply adjust. Sometimes they do. But the anxiety, the disrupted sleep, the cortisol that stays elevated for weeks during that adjustment is real. It is just invisible to the people who caused it. Your dog has been waiting for you to understand that change is not neutral for them. Even small gestures of consistency during uncertain times reach them in ways nothing else quite can. This is the one. Your dog has a real vocabulary. Not words, body language. Posture. Microsignals that are documented, consistent, and deeply meaningful. And within that vocabulary, they have a clear way of communicating, not right now. I do not want this. Please stop. The head turning away. The sudden lip lick. The barely visible lean backward. The yawn that arrives at the wrong moment. The body that goes still rather than soft. These are not random. These are complete sentences. And most owners do not just miss them. They actively override them. The child who wants to hug the dog while the dog's entire body is communicating discomfort, and the owner who says go ahead, he loves it. The grooming session where every signal says this is too much, and the owner who continues because it needs to get done. The stranger reaching for the dog's face, and the owner who apologizes for the dog being shy but does not step in. Every time a dog's clear signal is overridden, they learn something important: their communication does not work. And a dog who learns that their signals produce no results eventually stops sending them clearly. The quiet no becomes a growl. The lean away becomes a snap. Not because the dog is difficult, because the only language that worked was the louder one. Research from the University of Bristol found that dogs given more autonomy over physical interactions showed fewer anxiety behaviors and formed significantly stronger voluntary bonds with their handlers than dogs whose interactions were entirely controlled by the human. Less control from you. More trust from them. This is what your dog has been waiting for their entire life. Not perfection. Not expertise. Simply for you to hear a no, and honor it. Because a dog who trusts that their no will be respected does not need to escalate. They can speak in the quietest signal available and know it will land. That is not a dog being managed. That is a dog who feels safe enough to tell you the truth. Your dog does not need you to be extraordinary. They do not need endless patience or perfect consistency or round-the-clock engagement. They need to be able to predict you. Research into canine stress and owner behavior has consistently identified something surprising. The strongest predictor of chronic anxiety in domestic dogs is not harshness. It is not neglect. It is unpredictability. An owner who is warm one day and withdrawn the next. Who plays enthusiastically on weekends and disappears into distraction during the week. Who sets rules that shift depending on their mood. To your dog, that inconsistency is genuinely exhausting. Not because any single moment is harmful, but because they cannot build a reliable map of you. And if they cannot map you, they cannot fully relax around you. Some part of them is always monitoring, always reading, always waiting to understand which version of you has arrived today. The dog you most want to see loose, open, trusting, fully present can only exist when their nervous system has decided it is safe to stop monitoring. And monitoring only stops when the person being monitored has become consistent enough to trust. You do not need to be a perfect owner. You need to be a readable one. Feed them around the same time. Walk with the same patience. Respond to their signals with the same attention regardless of how your day went. Let them finish what they came to say. Honor the no. Soften the stare. Your dog has been waiting their whole life for the version of you that shows up the same way most of the time. Not the best version. The reliable one. Because for a dog, reliable feels exactly like love. Subscribe to Raffaloo. Remy will be here tomorrow. Same time. Same warmth.